Hey guys, welcome to week 8. We are halfway through after this week, the fantasy football season. Um, I'm sure we've all felt like we've either done better than we expected or in many of our cases worse than we expected. But I've beaten my win-loss record as predicted by the NFL fantasy prediction thing they send you as soon as you draft. So screw them. Let's get into it with me versus Phil. We're both hit hard this week by the Cowboys being on their bye. I lose my QB and WR2. Phil's lost his RB1 and a flex start. However, I think we're both going to have good teams this week, irregardless. Both have some favourable matchups this week. Between us, we've only got 3 players, playing on the road. And so I think, we're both feeling pretty good about our matchups. I think if Phil's going to pull this one off, he's going to need more from his studs this week. OBJ hasn't scored since week 2. Julio hasn't scored TD since week 3. And as we all know, touchdown mean points and points mean prizes. And I guess the prize that Phil's chasing this week is to go 500 on the season. Personally, I think I get the W. I think I'm going to move to 5-3. But we definitely need to watch that Pats-Browns game to see who's going to win that one. Reports that it's going to be kind of like some Washington-style sort of rain there in Foxborough this week, and that could really impact our matchups. Brad v Tom next. Tom started Sunday, comes into Sunday with a 25-point lead thanks to good performances from Diggs in the Washington defense. Tom is rolling with the same kicker 3 weeks in a row at the moment. And is it any wonder to anyone out there that Robbie Gould is having his worst season, in several years? He's missed 7 kicks so far this season, 7 field goals, and in the previous 3 years he had missed just 3 field goals. And that this season is the first season Tom's had him for 3 weeks in a row. Clearly, Tom is cursing the San Fran kicker, and I'd ask him to stop. Tom might be thinking, well, I'm going to roll with him this week anyway, because Carl Nelson's back as his long snapper. That's going to improve some of the snaps he's getting and improve his kicking. But Tom was right about that. Tom would also be foolish to keep him for another week, I think, because they're expecting winds of about 20 to 25 miles an hour in Santa Clara, and that's going to make kicking much harder. So whatever happens, though, I think Tom's still going to cruise to an easy win here. He got a good head start on Thursday, and I think, despite whatever happens with Gold, I think he's built up a comfortable lead. You both have several pit players going in your lineups, so make sure you watch that Factory of Sadness when they take on Miami this week. Moby Triss, tough start for Triss, who, as I understand it, turned down several opportunities to trade for a decent QB this week, and decided to drink the Kool-Aid of Cousins is an MVP level QB, and for that he got 11 points. He's facing off against Tom's new BFF in Gardner Minshew, and there are reports that expected to be thunderstorms in Jacksonville this week. And I saw one report that also said they're expecting 85-mile-an-hour winds. I'm almost certain that's a typo because that's a hurricane, and it's not expected to be a hurricane as far as I'm aware in Jacksonville. Triss is starting with a deficit in the expected fantasy points, and I think he's going to need to pull off some really big fantasy gambles to stand a chance of winning. Guys who can go boom or bust, make explosive plays. What I'm saying is, don't just leave Cooks on your bench this week because you really need him to be going for those deep touchdowns if he can make them. I think Mo's my current favourite to win this one, so I'm going to back him for this. Check out the Denver Indie game if you want to know which game to watch this week. Ian v Andy. So as of midnight last night, Ian is currently starting Bridgewater, which means he hasn't kept up with the latest news coming out of New Orleans. He did have a fantastic Thursday night with Cooks going off, although he had a more moderate showing from Terry McLaurin. Interesting game here to watch is Ebron and Lindsay, who will both be playing in Indy. Reports that should be about 12 degrees at kickoff. peaking at around 17 towards the end of the game, and wind should be around 12 to 12.5 miles an hour. As I'm sure we all know, Lucas Oil has a retractable roof, and I think external conditions are going to be kind of ideal for playing football. So I'm predicting that I think Frank Reich, I reckon he's going to be asking for that roof to be open this week. My prediction is for Andy to get an easy win here, if Ian, especially if Ian doesn't bother to watch this video and keep up with the news around the Saints. So yeah, do that. I say go watch that Denver Indy game. You've got two players going in that one, and you can also see if I'm right about my prediction that they go for the open roof or not. Tread v Ryan is our last one this week. Tread is starting three players against the 49ers. McCaffrey, who is just an obvious start, but he's also got a wide receiver going and a kicker, going for the Panthers. Despite my description of the difficult wins forecast for Levi Stadium. Tread is starting Rivers this week. I assume because he now expects him to pass at least once when they're on the 1 yard line. Ryan has a very explosive team this week, I feel. He's got Barclays and Jones, who've shown their ability to really go off and have big games. He's also got Evans going, who has been very boom or bust so far this season. He's had 3 games of 10 points or more, including a 37-pointer. And he's also had 3 weeks where he's put up 3 or fewer points, including last week. So, like I said, it's very difficult to tell what you're going to get from Mike Evans. If he has a good week, then, maybe he stands a slightly better chance. But I think it's going to be a very close game. I'm going to say make sure you watch that Houston-Oakland game. Expect it to be a warm one at around temperatures around 26 degrees at the what's it called, NRG Stadium, and so that's something to factor in. If you're worried about Jacob's shoulder, he's currently questionable with a short shoulder, and if you think that might affect it, limit his effectiveness, you should also be worried about the heat and dehydration, which may perhaps increase the running back by committee slightly more out there for Oakland in Houston this week. If I'm going to have to pick someone to win, I'm going to say Ryan, but like I said, it should be a very tight game. Guys, that's my video. Have a good week. I will see you in week 9.